All right, welcome everybody to the Billionaires Club. Appreciate you coming out tonight and joining us. So just take a minute to kind of let go of the day. Those of you who are not here for the meditation, you can just kind of breathe away the tension and the stress of the day and let it drain out your arms and legs and shift here into the present moment. Set your intention, what it is that you want to get out of the meeting today. Why did you come all this way to see us? It's probably the cupcakes, right? Yeah.
They're pumpkin with cream cheese frosting and gluten-free, just in case you want to know.
Yeah, well, I'll jump right to it. It's Sherry's birthday month.
That's
this
right,
month.
And Sherry,
so she's
back there,
Sherry
one of
back
our
here.
wonderful volunteers, she baked them too, so.
Yeah, so this is for all you guys here. So, who's new to the Billionaires Club? Hasn't been to a meeting before. Wonderful. 1, 2, 3,
wow.
4, 5,
Welcome.
6. Oh, good. Excellent. So we got about at least 30%, 40%. Usually we have about a quarter to a third of the people are new. This group just keeps growing. We're at about, we're almost at 1,400 members now. And when we took it over 2.5 years ago, it was about 600. So we have no idea why. People just keep showing up. Hopefully we're doing something right here. So who's new to the law of attraction itself? Maybe just heard of it, that hasn't really studied it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, excellent. Good. Well, this will be interesting then because applying law of attraction, which is kind of esoteric to business, is not mainstream. Okay? All the really successful people are doing it inherently. It's part of their inner knowing. They know how to trust their own guidance system. They know how to follow it to success. So if you have any questions, we're going to go over the basics of law of attraction, kind of intermixed with the presentation here, and then we'll present the main material. And if you have any questions, this is an open forum, so jump right in, raise your hand, shout out. We've got a roving microphone here, and since we are recording, we record all these events, and we put them up on YouTube, the audio version, so that people who can't make it can listen in. So be sure that if you've got something that you want to ask or whatever, just be sure Suzanne can get the microphone to you if you don't mind. Or I'll repeat your question, so that we get on the recording.
One of the things, though, I know it feels awkward because I just know, but if you hold it like right here, right really close to your mouth, then we can hear it on the recording. And I know when I go like this, that means get it closer.
Yeah, this is your
it's
chance.
a hard
This
thing
is your
to do.
15 seconds of fame here. You can get on the recording here. Yeah. So you have to keep coming back to get the whole 15 minutes. So my name's Kevin Young. I'm a partner with my wife Suzanne in personal success programs. We do law of attraction-based workshops, webinars, coaching programs, and so forth for both business and for individuals. We're here because we like to share the material that we have once a month to build a community of like-minded individuals. Our mission statement is to we've created this place, I'm getting out of sequence here, for like-minded individuals to gather and share knowledge and the experiences surrounding the universal law of attraction. So when we found this law in 2006, I want to say, or something, it tied right into all the motivational speaker information that we had learned. But because it's law-based, it's very exacting, it's very precise, it's repeatable, it's scientific. And so it's our mission through our companies to spread this information as much as we can. Because once you get it, that you have this power, life changes forever.
And honestly, when we decided to take over this little meetup group that was small when it started, we just thought it'd be nice to have some friends that knew law of attraction. Because do you ever feel like you say something and people roll their eyes, your old friends? Yeah, so we just thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to meet some more people?
Yeah, and the group showed up. We attracted this group. The organizer of the group just disappeared. And we got the email, and it was like within a day, I said, yeah, I want that group. Click the button. And you get to pay $14 a month and get a bunch of beautiful people. Isn't that amazing? So our support staff, most of them could not make it tonight for varying reasons. Amelia Mimi Brown is our sort of third in command. She's a professional speaker, coach. You may have seen her on Live on the D on Channel 4 on Friday. She's become a regular there. She's a motivational speaker. She's celebrating her anniversary up in Traverse City today. So she decided to do that instead of be with us.
We decided it was okay.
Yeah,
She
we're
could go
giving her a
celebrate.
bye today, but not again. And of course, Sherry, our Facebook administrator, whose idea it was to do the guided meditation.
Yeah,
We're now going
thank
to
you,
start
Sherry.
doing that for us. So
Yeah.
yes, thank you very
Woohoo.
much,
And
Sherry.
we're going to try and do that now. Well, not try. We will do that every meeting. So please, if you want to participate, come early. So we'll do that for 15 minutes right around 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so you can come here and get your day started, relax into it, say hi to people, get some cookies.
Sherry's posts on Facebook are great.
What's that?
Her posts on Facebook are great.
And her
Oh.
posts on Facebook are great. And they are, Sherry. Thank you.
Yes, they are. She's right on
Very
top
positive
of that.
and a lot of
So
attraction.
if you're not part of the Facebook group, please look us up. Okay, you just type in the Billionaires Club. It's the Detroit area meetup group, and you have to request permission because we don't let just anybody in the group. This is a private group, so that you can open up and talk about this kind of weird stuff amongst yourselves. And it's not for the mainstream yet. We're hoping that it will be someday. So if you want to be part of the group and share more good stuff, then join us. No charge for that. And then Susan. There's Susan
Reed,
back
she's
here.
back
She's
there,
our table
helping at
manager.
the registration table.
Yes,
Yay for Susan.
Yay,
Thank
Susan.
you.
And I think that's all we have here. We normally have about 6 people supporting us, but we've got a shy staff today. So the vision of our group is to build a community of naturally influential, self-empowered, and self-responsible leaders to help return Metro Detroit back to the world-class status that it once was. And leadership just means being more of yourself, finding your own alignment, expressing yourself, doing what we're going to talk about today, finding your own resonance, getting on your passion and purpose, and then you become a radiant being. You become a leader inherently because you're managing yourself. And that's what everybody really wants to be able to do. It's just most people are still stuck in that victim mentality where it's somebody else's fault that I don't have the things I want. That's not what Law of Attraction says. Law of Attraction says, I created my reality. But untangling all that stuff, the societal norms and so forth takes quite a while. So you guys, just by working on yourselves, are inherently spreading the word by becoming better versions of yourself because people are going to notice. So good job. Only have one rule, and that's no open solicitation of businesses' information and so forth on the website, or no handing out of your flyers or anything. And that's just because it doesn't work. Law of Attraction says that's a scarcity mindset, sort of scattershot marketing approach. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, the idea of the perfect client. We're focusing in, using Law of Attraction to focus in on what you want so that it does the leveraging work, and you don't have to do all the stuff that you don't want to do. And that's the whole point of Law of Attraction, is it's there to attract the things that light you up, and it's also going to attract the things that'll beat you up. Depends on what your focus is on. So why not do the fun stuff and let it help you? That's what we're going to be getting into quite a bit. A little housekeeping, cell phones on silent, stun, vibrate, pleasure mode, depending on where you put it.
Watch out.
I think I mentioned that we're recording it, so it is going to be up on YouTube. Our company has a YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and type in Personal Success Programs in the search bar at the top, and I think we come up near the top. Just click on our channel. We got other free stuff that we put up there too. But
What's the YouTube channel?
Personal Success Programs. It's the name of our company.
So that's where you put it on YouTube
In the
If you
search bar.
Yeah, if you just search for
Personal
that.
success programs.
Yeah, and then that'll take you to the channel, and then on the channel is where we upload things. We just started the Billionaires Club uploads last month, so there's only one up there. Now, we're probably going to go back, because we've been recording these for more than a year. It just takes some editing time.
They haven't been all that great because people don't put the microphone up to their mouth.
Or the audio system doesn't work, or there's a lot of reasons that we haven't gotten good recording. So we've got a nice system now, so we want to make use of it. And again, it's nice to be able to spread this kind of information, make it available. What's up, Jane?
What's the system you guys have for sound?
What is the system we have? It's whatever the church installed. They just put in a digital system that I can control from my iPad here. It's a pretty state-of-the-art. Let's see. And also, just an FYI, we're doing these, what we call Law of Attraction roundtable calls, which are like a mini version of this monthly meeting, but over the web. And we're doing them for free on Monday nights at 7:30. So you can, again, find our website, which is personalsuccessprograms.com, and then you can sign up, register for any of the weekly calls, and you can actually ask questions. We do a little presentation, 10-minute training section, and then you can come on board. If you want to be coached live, we do that. You want questions about law of attraction material. Again, it's just our way to help spread the information around and get a whole bunch of people really kind of moving in the direction of being self-empowered. And I think that's that. So the agenda today, what are we doing? Welcome. We'll do a few success stories so that you can hear how law of attraction works in people's real lives, because what's the point of learning this stuff if you don't actually implement it, right? And so once you start doing it, then you start having success. That's guaranteed. So we always tell a few success stories so you can get some idea of how to connect the dots. We'll get into the main subject, which is how to easily attract more clients using law of attraction. And then, like I said, this is an open forum, so Q&A all the time. You got a question, the only dumb question they say is the one that doesn't get asked. So jump in.
Especially if you're new, feel free to ask a question because it's a big topic.
Yeah, you'll find that even though the law of attraction is ridiculously simple in theory, it's just like attracts like, but implementing it in the real world, because of what we've been taught, that all these things that don't work, unraveling that part is the hard part. So good conversation is really helpful to unravel that. And then we'll do our wrap-up and open networking. Starts at 8 o'clock. If there's somebody here who lights up for you, talk to them, because that's law of attraction in action. That's you in a receptive state. You're picking up some energy. Use it. Find out what's on the other side of that. Okay? And, of course, have a cupcake. More importantly. Trying to, push those cupcakes.
Don't worry, my kids will eat them all.
Okay, all right. Well, I didn't want them to go to waste.
That's good because I might eat them all if I take them home, so probably a good idea.
Any questions before we get started? We're all in the right place? Not for the Tai Chi class down the hall there? Okay. If I see you stand up and start doing something, I'll know you're in the wrong place. Okay, well, we're going to kick off some law of attraction success stories. I've actually got one that's actually two parts, which I'll kick off with here. So I attracted two coaching clients. I'm a certified life and business coach, and I attracted two clients last week, both very interesting process, all law of attraction. The first one, we were referred to by somebody who we just met recently, and she was helping this person. This person's actually living in the state of Washington. And so she knew about what we were doing with these roundtable calls and said, you ought to talk to this person. Maybe he'll be a good coach for you. So when I talked to the person, we had what we call a discovery session over the phone. Turns out that she went to high school with me. She was 1 year behind me, and she actually knew me. I didn't remember her. I didn't remember a lot of people in high school. That was kind of one of those 4-year segments that's gone in my experience. So, what's that? Too many cupcakes, yes. Yes. That's or not enough. So, I mean, who can orchestrate that, right? So, and we have a lot of things in common now. There's a lot of connection. So that's what law of attraction does. That's what we're going to ask you guys, particularly those of you who are new to the law of attraction, start looking for evidence of what we call synchronicities, serendipities, right? There's no accidents, there's no coincidences, there's nothing random in an attraction-based universe. Everything is attraction-based. So start looking for the evidence of connections, and then you can start to create them. And that's the cool part. That's the first one. And the second one was I'd been following this young lady who's a very powerful marketing and salesperson. You know, you see those emails that are trying to promote marketing and so forth. And I'm on a number of lists because I like to learn about this, and different people have different techniques. And there's one who's been just lighting up for me. And this is the thing I'm going to suggest that you get more aware of. When something lights up for you, and you don't know why it lights up, or it just, sometimes people's faces look brighter on Facebook or someplace than other people's. There's an energy connection going on there, and pay attention to it.
Or sometimes you just get a feeling instead of lighting up. I mean, but that's the same experience.
Yeah, people translate energy in different ways. I translate it kind of visually speaking, and I feel it in myself. Other people translate it auditorially. We're all different, all wired differently. So if something lights up for you, and you have a feeling around it, and you don't know why, trust the feeling first. As long as you're feeling good, that's going to take you towards something that's going to be a door towards something that you want. That's what law of attraction does. It's constantly just trying to move us towards the things that are trying to come towards us. That's what law of attraction is. It's a law of rendezvous. So I was following this young lady for months. I didn't really know anything about her other than I liked the presentation. It was very positive, very upbeat, very clean website, and so forth. Well, I got a call, it was just last week or so, from Mimi, our third in charge here, saying, there's this person that I know who's looking for a coach who understands the law of attraction because it's a really powerful connection. She wants to take her business to the next level. And so I said, great. So she gave me her name. Who is it? This young lady, who I was going to contact this fall as the number one choice for marketing for our company. So I didn't have to do anything. She called me. And so we had a discovery session. She's going to coach with me, and we're probably going to use her marketing services. So how much work was that to get a perfect client? Might trade services. It depends on how it works. You got to be careful about trading services because sometimes that feels there can be a little scarcity mindset that flows in there, right? You're always trying to get a little bit more from the other person than they're going to give you. You got to be careful about bartering. We've done it both ways, and not that it can't work, but yeah, we'll probably just exchange services through paying for it. So there you go. I mean, no effort involved other than just getting in an excited state and letting go of the need for it to happen. That's a really important first step, okay, with law of attraction. When you want something, that's why they say let it go. The reason is because if you don't let it go, then you start to slide down here into worry and maybe disappointment or pessimism because it hasn't shown up yet. Or maybe you haven't figured out how you're supposed to go get the thing. And so you actually cancel your own energy by floating down the scale. And everything you want is up here at the top. Right? If you look at it, joy, knowing, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation, those are all the symptoms of the desires we want, right? Everything we want is up here at the top. That's the vibrational frequency of things that we want. It's up here at the top. So law of attraction just says you got to be at the frequency of the things that you want in order to get them, in order for them to show up and be realized in your experience. So that's why you can't be down here and worry and have things show up that you want. Now, you might say, well, I had been worrying about it, and then it showed up. Well, what happened was you let go of it at some point. You finally gave up the struggle to try and make the thing happen, and you floated yourself up here through maybe just distraction, and boom, things have to show up. Because law of attraction never turns off. It's always turned on. It's like gravity. You cannot turn it off. There's no way where in the universe you can hide from it. It's always running. So your job is to get into a receptive state where it can actually benefit you, because it's always attracting. All law of attraction does is it takes energies that are at the same frequency, and everything's vibrating in this universe, and it brings them together, coalesces them. It's the constructor of everything in the universe. It's the underpinnings of how everything works. But it's so subtle, and it's so integrated into everything, it's really hard to see until you start looking for it. But once you start looking for it, you see evidence every place of it, and then you can control it. So we want to get into the actual material, and then let's come back around to the law of attraction bits and flesh them out as you guys need, okay? So let's participate. If there's stuff that I say that doesn't make sense, maybe there's a context or something or terminology, I'll come back around. I'm pretty sensitized to your energy. I can already feel what needs to be said here, but let's participate, okay? Then I don't have to guess.
Good idea.
Yeah, it's always easier that way.
Did anyone want to share a success story? Okay, cool. This is where I get my exercise.
Well, this isn't really my success story, but a couple weeks ago, I was talking to my neighbor, and I'm a romantic at heart, and so how did you guys meet? And she said it was interesting when she was in like 3rd or 4th grade, her husband and his brother were altar boys, and they were a little bit older than she. But she just loved the both of them, Dave and Kevin. She just loved them, and she told her mother she was going to marry one of them. She didn't care which one. And she wrote their initials all over her notebook with her, she just wrote the initials, and then, so fast forward however many years, and she's working at the tanning salon, and in comes Dave, and he asks her out, and they're dating, and her mother says, "Do you know who that is?" And she said, "No." And here it was one of the brothers. And so then they got married.
I
Yeah.
love that. That is a great story.
There you go.
That's how the law of attraction works. And sometimes it takes years, but eventually, like energy attracts like energy, and they had a common thread that brought them together. That's the power of it.
Well, this is kind of a long story, so I'm going to try and make it as short as possible. So I don't know how I attracted the negative activity, but I have 2 dogs. My little one got attacked by my back door neighbor, the neighbor that's directly behind me. We share a fence line. And the pit bull attacked my dog. Nearly killed it, didn't kill it. He survived. Neighbor made all the right moves. Oh, we're so sorry. We're going to pay for all your vet bills, yada, 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 yada. Talk. Paid one bill, paid one portion of it. You know, they have a new baby. They were having issues with money, so I understand. And they made another really small payment a long time afterwards. And then they moved. Didn't pay off all of the bills. And I'm like, wow, you know, I trusted the universe that in spite of this bad thing that I was going to get repaid for the vet bills. And didn't happen. Well, so it worked back in the back of my brain. I'm like, you know, he really should make good on this. And actually, so they lived together, the husband and wife, but they weren't married. She was the homeowner. She had nothing to do with the dog. She didn't want to keep the dog afterwards. She wanted the dog to leave her home. They had an infant baby at the time. This was a vicious dog. So I decided I was going to go to small claims court. Okay, so time passes by. I get a call from Judge Faith. Many of you may or may not have ever heard of her, but she's kind of like Judge Judy. So
what happened?
So I went on Judge Faith's show, and I got repaid all of the money, and the woman who was not responsible for it didn't have to pay a dime, which was what I wanted. I didn't want her to have to pay for it because it was the guy's fault.
So what changed in you to attract that outcome?
So I let it go
Ah.
over and over again. I let it go initially, and I wasn't going to pursue it. But then I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and make this next step and see what happens. And everybody said, oh, you shouldn't trust this. This is some kind of a scam, yada, yada, yada. I just trusted that I was going to get repaid. Things were going to be made right. She wasn't going to have to pay for it. It all worked out.
So there's a
Letting
lot
go.
of moving parts in that story. For you guys who are new to it, it may be hard to follow. But Sherry's been doing the vibrational work, is what we call it, for quite a while, and she's really, that's a great example of what happens when you do the work on yourself. Because in an earlier time, certainly if it had been me in an earlier time in my life, I would have been outraged, and I would have done something that I would have regretted, or maybe gone and whatever, filed a more major lawsuit, or all those things come up. And what's happening is when something happens and we're not paying attention to our own vibration, what we've been sending out to the universe, we end up down here, something has to manifest that matches it. Right? Everything that shows up is a manifestation of what we've been sending out. There's no exceptions to that. Everything that's in your life right now, this minute, is a vibrational match, exact match to what you've been sending out. Okay? There are no exceptions. It's all law-based. It's science. Okay? So, and it's okay when stuff happens that we don't like, that hurts our dog or whatever the situation is. It just means that for some reason we were down here and we didn't pay attention to it. We didn't catch it when it happened. We weren't paying attention to how we were feeling, because the emotions are the guidance. We got a solar plexus with nerve cells in it that's telling us what's going on, what we're feeling, and that's what we're sending out at the same time. But we numb this, so then we ignore it. We don't know what we're feeling, and then we start attracting and say, well, where'd that come from? Well, you were sending it out asking for it, but you ignored that you were in a negative state of mind for a long period of time. And
So does that mean that your negative feelings?
Say
So
again?
I'm just thinking that would mean that your negative feelings about something that happened would spiral into more negative feelings unless
do.
you catch it.
beautifully stated. That's called momentum. Momentum. Yeah, law of attraction is just an amplifier. It's a magnifying glass. Judy? Yep.
I have a lot of success stories, but I'll just tell two really
Well,
good
can we finish this discussion first?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Now, I want to close the loop on this because there's some really important stuff here that Sherry's brought up. The work that she's done is she's detected when she's down here. Okay, this is the hardest thing. When you're down here and you're letting that stuff churn up, typically we will stay down here until it gets so bad we have to do something different, right? We're forced to because the walls are caving in, or we lost our job, or whatever happened. So you don't want to let it get that bad if you can, but if it does, it's okay. That's the awareness point. What Sherry's getting really good at is she detected that and said, okay, you know what, even though I'm feeling a little revenge, that's what a lawsuit is, by the way, it's revenge, down here at number 18, right? But that's okay, it's better than being powerless, or down here at the bottom. So it's a movement up. And then she said, that doesn't feel good, you know what, I got to let this go and trust that whatever happens, happens. And as soon as you let it go, then the law of attraction can come in and say, okay, here's the solution you were actually looking for. Okay? And she said she did it several times because it's okay. We got a lot of triggers, guys. We're born into parents that usually didn't understand this stuff and society that says you're a victim, so you should sue people. But all that does is it brings you down here and attracts more of the same thing. So the work is to detect when you're not feeling good and do whatever you can to get out of that negative energy so that it can float back up so you can start attracting the solutions that you want as opposed to the problems that you created. Okay, I wanted to close that loop there. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Because this is really deep stuff we've now jumped into here.
And what I loved was, Sherry, that you said you were disappointed. You didn't want her to have to pay anything. She didn't even want the dog anymore. You really wanted him to. So why not do this one more thing, have a little hope, take a small claims court, and then let it go. And then the universe said, okay, here you go. Gave you what you were looking for.
Yeah, it was really nice creation, by the way.
Yeah, good job.
Because that is the work. It's not that you're going to have perfect lives one day, because the contrast is what we call it. Dropping down here gives you the opportunity to grow and to have clarity and to build awareness of what you do want. The negative stuff always has the benefit of clarifying, right? So if you take it as that, then you will grow quickly, and if you don't judge it as being a bad thing or judge you as being a bad person, then you'll pop right back up and life gets right back on track.
Yeah.
Do you have a question, Jane?
One of my friends actually said, oh my God, 3 things all happened at once. Like her boyfriend broke it off with her, and she lost her job, and something else happened. I forgot what it was. I was so tired, and I was like listening to everything she had said. I just said, think positive. If you just, if one thing goes bad, things are going to turn around, She was like, I was mentally tired from everything I was doing. I was like, I missed her call. I called her back like 10 minutes later. But I just said, just think positive.
Yeah, and that's the one thing is that is always ultimately the solution, right? Is to get yourself back up here no matter what it takes, right? Go take a nap, take a walk, meditate like we did earlier today, whatever it takes to break the cycle, because law of attraction doesn't let go. If you stay in anger or revenge or hatred or powerlessness, and you don't break your own...
It's going to spiral, like you said.
It's a spiral.
Because
all law of attraction does is it amplifies that back. It brings circumstances, places, people, events, thoughts that match the frequency. And it will not stop until you stop.
In mind, if you are down here and someone says, well, just think positive, you can't jump from down here up to there immediately. The frequencies are too far apart. These are high frequency, this is low frequency. But you can, this is why we have this word relief here, gently find ways to think about it as you move your vibration up so that you can then attract the solution like you did, Sherry, little by little, and then the results will come. That's a key thing to remember. These are low frequency down here, and that's what they attract, more of that feeling. So to get up here, you want to just gently take yourself up by the way you're thinking.
It's sort of like if you've been in any one of these vibrations for any length of time, these frequencies, it's sort of like being in quicksand a little bit, because it's constantly you're being bombarded by the frequency you've been putting out. And so it is hard. That is what Suzanne said. There's no way to get from here on the same subject to here in one thought. You simply can't do it because you're immersed in that energy. So, but you can move up from, let's say you're down here feeling powerless, and what Sherry did sort of spontaneously, moved up to revenge. Well, that's actually good because it takes you out of powerlessness. You just don't want to stay there. And then again, that's what she did. She got moving in that direction and said, well, parts of this still doesn't feel good. Let's see if I can find a way to let it go and move up farther. And so she kept stepping up until she was able to let it go. Anyway, that's the mechanism underneath us. We can't prove any of this to you.
You have to prove it to
You
yourself.
have to prove it to yourself.
Like
One more
we
thing?
have over years.
There's another way to do it too. There's like if you think of a negative thought, just tap it out of your head and make yourself think of a better thought, But I told this lady, some people get repeated thoughts, and she said, some old thoughts are good thoughts too. And I was like, oh my God.
Okay. So, Judy, did you have something? You wanted to share? Yeah, let her share a story. Yeah.
Okay, so my daughter was starting 10th grade, and it was orientation at the high school, and, she's happy seeing all her friends, picture day, blah, blah, blah. So then I was like, well, your schedule doesn't have you in honors chemistry, they have you in regular chemistry, blah, blah, blah. So we had to wait in this long line, get it switched over, no problem. So we go check out her locker and make sure the combination's right. Sure enough, she's in the worst locker hall possible, not by any of her friends. It's the most narrow hallway. It's by the pool. Her hair's going to frizz. It's hot down that hallway. Blah, blah, blah. So, okay, Julia, don't worry about it. Your mom's going to get the locker changed. I will get the locker changed. Mom, there's 900 blah, blah, blah kids. You're not going to get it changed. I said, Julia, I'll get it changed. So, Labor Day weekend is here. And, Mom, did you call about my locker? I said, Julia, the school is closed. It's a holiday. Oh, no, somebody's there. They have to be there. No, Julia, it's a holiday. Okay, so Tuesday comes. She goes to school. Sure enough, I get a text message. Mom, guess what happened? What? Your schedule wrong? No. Somebody pushed me in the hall by my locker, and my cell phone went flying, and it's broken. First thing, I normally, before practicing this, would have been, $800 phone, blah, blah, blah. But nope, I did. Sent her a text back, are you okay? Because I didn't know how hard she got pushed. So anyway, I just let it go. Everything's fine. No big deal. We've got a warranty. So the next day, I'm doing my meditating and my journaling, like Kevin teaches. And she was like, Mom, don't forget to call about my locker. Don't forget to call about my locker. Okay, no problem. So I said, you know what? I'm going to meditate first so that I don't get an attitude with whoever I talk to, blah, blah, blah. So it was around 10 o'clock. I call and I say, really nice. Who can I talk to about the locker? Oh, that's me. Okay, I explained the situation with the locker room and her hair frizzing and the phone and all of that. And she goes, oh, I don't know. Let me check on that. And she's, I can hear her for about 5-10 minutes. Then she goes, oh my gosh, it's your daughter's lucky day. She goes, I have a sheet sitting right in front of me. I totally forgot. Somebody just dropped and went to a different school, and she's got C Hall. It's like, yes. So it's by all her friends, and all is good with the world, and Mom's the greatest.
And yay for meditation.
Yeah. And Judy's another one who's been a regular working on herself, right? Catching the negative, right? You said, you get those triggers, and all of a sudden, things spin out of control, right? And
She had said if I had called, a half an hour before that kid had just dropped, right before I called.
Yeah, half hour before the call. How's that for timing, right?
Yeah.
Now, she wouldn't have gotten the impulse, the guidance to make the call at that time had she not taken the time to meditate and get up here where the impulses are being sent. Right? You get that? You're always getting guidance. You're always getting impulses. The question is, what are they going to take you to? Right? Depends on what you're putting out. You're getting to get impulses, but if you're down here and all pissed off at life, you're going to get guidance that's going to take you right back into more of it. So very, very wise. And boy, what a perfect alignment. A nice job. So that's how it works. There's a couple of great demonstrations of how law of attraction works. One more quickly, please.
I wonder if you're in the middle of an argument with a person and you're trying to stay in a positive state of law of attraction.
It's a little late at that point.
Okay, well
okay,
so you're not in a positive state, but you're still trying to have a positive outcome. What is your state of mind at that point?
I would walk away. Well, because not only is law of attraction attracting that energy, but the other person is now in that state. They have to be in the same frequency or you wouldn't be talking to them. Right? They were your manifestation of the energy you already had going before you walked into the conversation.
Well, to answer your question, once you begin to understand how powerful it really is, once you realize you're both stuck in a rut of negative, you can say, if you don't mind, I just need to breathe a little bit. Maybe we can come back in about 10 minutes. Would that be okay with you? And you yourself then have control to go meditate, get in a better frequency, because really when you meditate, you quiet your mind. So that could be something you could work on. You can't make the other person change, but you can always work on your own energy so that when you do come back, you've got another perspective.
I deal with the general public a lot, and if someone gets angry, I quickly tap a joke, like throw a joke out, and they snap out of it right away.
Well, if you're at that frequency,
Middle
but
of a
usually
fight,
if you're in the middle of
probably
an
not a good
argument, you're
I
not
doubt
thinking
that.
jokes. You're usually thinking, what can I do to hit them or something.
Are you going to
question?
go into any information about what you do for meditation?
How to meditate?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like tonight, for us newbies?
Well, we'll give you a couple of quick tips.
Okay.
And then, because we got a lot to still cover.
And if you want to come back next month, we meditate. We just started it from 6 to 6:15 or 6:20, and then you can get the practice of it.
Meditation, just in brief, is the act of deliberately focusing your mind on something that has no meaning to you. And the purpose is to stop the thought cycle, because thoughts, try not to go too deep here, thoughts are actually not what you think they are.
Oh, no, there he goes. My husband.
Thought energy is actually being attracted like everything else. You're tapping into thoughts that are actually in your own brain. Okay? You have access to every thought that's ever been thought, every consciousness stream you have access to. Most people have no idea that they have that much power. So you're attracting whatever frequency you're on, you're attracting whatever thought streams are closest to the frequency that you're at that have meaning to you. Okay? And that's, again, there's that cycle of that spin cycle that doesn't stop when you're down here. So the secret is, because you can only think of one thing at a time, is to get your mind focused on something that has no charge around it, no negative energy
No
around
emotional feeling
it.
about it.
And so if you can find things that can bring you up here, you soften and broaden your thoughts, you focus on something that's light and general. And what we found is that there's lots of guided meditations, that's what we play here, where you can play 15 minutes and somebody actually talks you down into a relaxed state.
And they have
relaxing your
beautiful
muscles
music and gentle words, and it just helps you get relaxed.
So now your mind is thinking about your breathing or your body, and you're not thinking about your neighbor or whatever else it is. So and when you fall asleep, you pop back up here to the top too, because you're not thinking. Right? This is your default state. You're the 99% of the rest of your consciousness, which isn't in your body right now, is up at this place, and it's constantly pulling. All you got to do is stop pulling yourself down with negative thoughts, and you'll float back up. So that's all meditation does, and there's a million different ways to do it.
And you can go on YouTube, if anyone has an iPhone, and just type in meditation.
Yeah.
You'll just come up with so many
Millions of
choices.
things.
And listen, and finally one that resonates, that'll be the one you want to use.
So getting deliberate about thought is everything. Okay? Mary Ellen? Said hang on a second, Mary Ellen. I said being deliberate about what you're thinking in the moments based on how the thoughts feel is everything. If you master that, you'll have everything that you ever wanted in life. It'll come faster than your head
Did you
spin.
want to say something?
Well, did you really say that we have access to every thought that's been thought?
Yeah.
Every thought we think is accessible by everyone?
By frequency,
Once you
yeah.
think
Well,
the thought, the energy's out there.
Yeah, believe it or not, thought energy is really the foundation of the universe. Consciousness is everywhere. It's not just in our brains. It gets very deep very quick. From scientifically, we're all a pile of energy in here. We're not even these particles you think you are, right? And your consciousness is what's creating the particles from waves of energy. That's quantum mechanics in 5 seconds.
You see, when we first got introduced to law of attraction, I'm like this emotional woman, right? And it all just made sense to me. If it feels good, I'm going to attract. And then he said, well, that's really nice, but prove it to me. And so this is why it's actually perfect, because all the stuff that he read that I would fall asleep by, he shared with me, and then we just thought, oh, this is cool. We got to form our company and start teaching it. That's how that evolved.
Yeah.
So we went a little deep there for anyone who's not into that.
And the only reason I bring up any of that kind of stuff is to help you see how valuable and powerful and important you are to this universe. You're part of the creation process of everything that exists, and you can tap into any of it as well. But most of us are so far down here, we're so stuck in just the thinking part of our brains, we never open up to tap into that genius which is available. You can tap into any consciousness that's ever existed. And I know people personally who do that. We have a good friend who's an airline pilot. He went through commercial airline school in like 6 months. Flight training, flight simulators, everything. He knew how to fly small planes. And he did this by he does some of the most brilliant meditations. In fact, those are up on the YouTube channel. Will Brand is his name. He does these marvelous meditations where he literally, before he would go into a flight simulator, he would just meditate, completely quiet his mind and open up, and he would ask for guidance from other pilots, the ones who don't even maybe live anymore. And he would just get in there, and his hands would start working the controls, and his feet would start working the controls, and he would just be watching as he was flying this flight simulator. And he blasted through that, and he's flying commercial planes right now. It's amazing what you can do. Will Brand? Yeah. W-I-L-L, yeah. He's on our website. If you go to the YouTube channel, we send out a 15-minute meditation by him every Monday. You can, again, for free, you can sign up and get those as well.
So I have to share a really quick story, too, and then we'll maybe get
maybe
to our
we'll
subject.
To the material, yeah.
Speaking of, feeling the energy of other souls that are out there, I did this speaking engagement this past Sunday here at this church, and it was Power of Perspective. And as I was getting my material together as what I want to talk about, I thought about all the wonderful things that I heard Wayne Dyer read, listened to him, and all of that. He's been one of my favorites. And Kevin did not know what I was going to speak on, but he was there watching me, of course, and taking some pictures. And so I got into this story that Wayne Dyer had shared many a time when he was around and in his books, and I won't go into it now because we don't have much time. But I could just feel, even before I got here, I remember saying, well, Wayne, as if he's my friend, Wayne, if you want to help me deliver this talk, I'm going to do this without any outline. I just love what I've learned from you. So first time I've ever done a talk without an outline. Got up there, it just flowed from me. And during the time when I was telling this story and sharing some of the stuff, Kevin was sitting right there, and he said,
Wayne showed right up in my face. And my whole energy changed. I just felt this incredible calm just wash over me from top to bottom. I could just feel him and see him right there. I've never had that deep of a connection experience, but she was so in the zone. She had made the connection, and she was radiating the signal.
And he didn't know what I was going to talk about. He didn't know Wayne Dyer was going to be part of my thing.
He showed up.
It's just the first time we've ever had that experience, and this is what we love about law of attraction.
Yeah, there's no end to it. So one of the things that you guys can do, you can practice it yourself. Who are your mentors? Who are the people you look up to? Who are the ones you've read about that really inspire you? There's a guy named Napoleon Hill who 100 years ago, he wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich, thank you. Yeah, what's that? Second book? Okay.
Oh, his original version of Think and Grow Rich? Yeah, because it has spirituality in it, and which the world wasn't ready to hear that aspect then.
He did a thing called a mastermind, and he would as he was learning about these successful people, he was hired by Andrew Carnegie to go and be introduced to the world's most successful people, and he wrote this book about how they became successful. It was 100 years ago. And one of the things that he did was he created this idea of a mastermind in his head, and he started tapping into the people like at the time Thomas Edison and Henry Ford and Abraham Lincoln, and I forget who all, and who weren't in physical form anymore. And he started having regular conversations at night with them. And they got so real to some point where he got so many answers that he freaked himself out and he stopped doing it for a while. It was so real. Now you could say, well, that's just your imagination. But when you're getting answers that actually take you to something that you had no way of knowing otherwise, then that's when you start to realize you have this connection, you have this guidance. So you can practice this yourself. Find somebody that's in your mind, maybe a couple of people that you really respect. I know one of my coaching clients used her grandfather, who was a business owner, and now she's very successful running her own business. She tapped into his guidance, and she do this every night. So try it yourself. See if you start to get a little bit of guidance. See if you get impulses. See if you can feel that person who really inspires you, and see if you start to get ideas from them. See what happens, right? Again, you got to prove it to yourself. We can't prove any of this stuff to you. If somebody was standing outside and looking in here, they'd say, oh, there's a bunch of weird people in this room. But that's what successful people do. They understand this.
They might be thinking this now, all the new ones.
Yeah. And that's fine. You're here for a reason.
Which brings
One
another
more?
question.
Fast about energy.
Sure.
As soon as I came in here, I already started, and I met lovely Susan at the door. But I knew, my friend Marcy invited me, and I love this stuff, But it's literally, it isn't even me loving it. My throat and my heartbeat. And as you talk, it's something that I want to jump out. You know what I mean? It's so real.
It's resonance.
And everything just this whole feeling right now is a body feeling, and that's how it was when I walked in, which I already know, but I just wanted to say confirmed and
Yeah, thank you for the
so
feedback.
good.
Yeah, we appreciate
People
that.
say, and we feel the same way when you're done with the meeting, depending on how it's resonating. You feel like you went to the bar, everybody's on this high, and you go out. And all we did was share energy. It's just so cool.
And this is one of the reasons we do it as well. It's very selfish, right? We get to feel the energy flowing through us because law of attraction, again, you guys, we couldn't do this if you weren't in here, right? We could come here by ourselves and talk, but the point is that it's your questions, your curiosity is what's pulling the answers through us from that broader guidance. That's how it works. It's law of attraction. We are just what we call the cooperative components for you guys. And when we get the pleasure of feeling this powerful positive energy come through us as we get to answer the questions and have the conversations, it's always a win-win when you're doing it. So, yeah, it's very selfish. So let's jump a little bit into the material for tonight.
Yeah, maybe we'll
if
get on the
that's okay.
topic right now.
And maybe it'll be boring, and we'll just go back to what we were talking about. So I've had a number of clients use this process. We've taught this in a workshop, a webinar called How to Easily Attract More Clients last year, and who have used some of these techniques and within a week or two are starting to attract what they call perfect clients. And it's just law of attraction, getting clear about what it is you want and off of what you don't want.
Does anyone here are in a business where you would like to learn how to attract your ideal clients? Okay,
All right.
cool.
Excellent.
We'll do the best we can in about 15 minutes. But there's always more to come.
And this also works on relationships as well and other things. Yeah. So if you don't have a business, then just substitute the word relationship when we talk about client. So we've talked pretty much about vibration here and resonance. One of the analogies that I love is the idea of stringed instruments. I played guitar for a long time when I was a lot younger. Have you ever played a stringed instrument? Anybody play a stringed instrument, a guitar, violin? Have you? Okay. Have you ever held the instrument without touching it and somebody else played a note that was one of the open notes on your instrument and it started resonating? You ever heard the string actually start playing? Right? That's resonance, right? So the frequency over there set up a sympathetic vibration on your instrument. That's what feedback is when you're playing an electric guitar. So that's happening all the time. That's a form of law of attraction.
That's a tuning? Is that like a tuning fork?
You can use a tuning fork, sure. Yeah, if you had a tuning fork that was, let's say, on a guitar, the A string is open, you have an A440 tuning fork. If you hit the tuning fork anywhere near the guitar, the A string will start vibrating. Right? That's because they're at the same frequency, right? Same frequency. And so one then vibrates the other. Right? That's this resonance that we're talking about. It's a very important concept to understand. Everything is frequency-based in the universe. So we have to be at the same frequency of the things that we want in order for them to be attracted to us, if they're things that we want. Because everything we want is up here, remember? All your desires, you don't ever have a desire that would cause you blame or worry, right? Desires, by definition, feel good, right? So this is back to the idea we started with, that you have to feel good. You have to invoke the feeling of what feels good to you, and it's different for everybody, so you can't compare it to anybody else. It's what's in here, your emotions are telling you that feel good. That's what you're sending out. And there is a little point I'll make right now. We get in the habit of sometimes numbing the feelings that we have because they feel really crappy and we can't do anything about it. And so I learned this when I was a kid. I had a horrible energy in my upbringing, and so there was stuff I couldn't do about it. So I just learned to numb my emotions. I could just turn it right off. That part of my body, not there. But guess what? I had no guidance then. All sorts of fun stuff happened to me. I had all sorts of crappy stuff in my childhood. So, and leading right up to, in 2009, a brain tumor on this side. That was a manifestation of a victim energy I had my whole life, but I didn't have the emotions to tell me, stop thinking those thoughts. and eventually has to manifest someplace. In my case, it manifested in my brain. That's where this work started, for me anyway, my awareness to go in the other direction. So it's really important to understand the idea of frequency. We have to become a vibrational match to what we want, and what we want's always at the top, so that's where we always want to head with our thoughts. And pay attention to how your thoughts feel, because that's their feedback. That's the whole mechanism right there of law of attraction. So what we're going to do is talk about how to get your thoughts around, vibrationally speaking, a perfect client. What's a perfect client for you? We're doing this 90-day program called Fill Your Business with Perfect Clients that I'm kicking off in October, and I thought I would take some of the juiciest nuggets here out of that and give those to you guys so you can actually start trying them out yourself. So most businesses don't even have either enough clients or they have clients that they don't really like completely. Anybody have a business that's full of absolutely perfect clients already? You love every single one of them. They're bringing you all the money, all the fun. I didn't think so. There are very few businesses that have that, including our business. We've started off, we had a whole rocky road of clients that we didn't enjoy, didn't pay on time, that were hard to work with, until we started learning this stuff. And now the clients that we have, we love, because we've done the work on ourselves. So there's two primary reasons that you don't have enough of the right kind of clients. One is that the passion for your business isn't there itself. You can't get yourself up to here about the business. There's some major aspect of your business you yourself are not in harmony with. There's no fix for that, guys. If it's not there, if it was there, you can bring it back usually. If it wasn't ever there and you're just doing it to make $1, well, guess what? You're never going to be successful. It just can't happen, because if you're down here in frustration about what you're doing every day, guess what you're going to attract? It's got to match, vibrationally speaking, right? So that's the first thing. We're not going to get into the passion side of it today, but what we will talk about is the idea of the perfect client. Other reason that people often don't have the clients they want is they don't have a clear idea of what a perfect client looks like. And so they have a scattershot approach in their minds of what clients can look like. Usually we don't have enough clients, so then we'll take anybody, right? Anybody who'll walk in the door and fog a mirror and has $1 in their hands, I'll take, right? Well, guess what? Then when we become less selective about what's coming into our lives, guess what we attract, right? Because they're not going to bring us joy if they're hard to work with, if they're maybe they don't pay on time or want to argue with us. Well, that brings us this energy. So we look at them and we say, oh, God, but I got to keep going after those clients. But I don't like these clients. So, well, sorry, you're going to get more of them. There's no way around that mechanism. You got to do something different. So what we like to do is what's called creating a client avatar or a perfect client profile. This is where you create an ideal client on paper. Right? You may never have met them. Maybe you have. Some of you might be lucky enough to have had that perfect client, that one where they walked in the door and you thought, oh, I love working with you. There's something about you. You get what I do. You're getting value from what I do. You like showing up. You're fun to work with. You pay on time. You want to pay me more money than I'm even asking for. Right? Anybody had at least one of those in their lives, in their business? Yeah, good. Yeah,
And you know who knew this? Einstein. He once said, your imagination, what you want, is the preview to your life's coming attractions. So this is why this is a powerful exercise that we love teaching. I'll just give you a taste of today.
Yeah. So the point of the perfect client is to get you back into the good feeling about how it can be in your business. If you enjoy what you do, and like I said, we're not going to cover that, then the only piece, the major piece that's missing is you're blocking the clients from finding you. That's all. And that's because of the beliefs that you have in place. So the perfect client profile is something that helps you change your own beliefs about clients that can show up for you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to build a brief perfect client list for you, a profile. And you guys are going to do the work.
Anybody need a piece of paper? Because we can hand out a couple more. Susan's coming down the aisle.
Yeah, Susan's got it
Need
covered.
something to write on.
Any paper? You guys need paper, pen? You good? All right.
Looks like they all came prepared, pretty much.
All right. So I'll give you an example. I coach businesses and individuals, okay? And so from the business side, and by the way, if you have multiple products and services, you'll have multiple client profiles, perfect client profiles, okay? because unless they are exactly the same, like if the one client can buy all your products and services, which usually isn't the case, but if it is, then you only need one profile. Okay? But if you have multiple, like I have for my coaching business, I have two distinct sides: the personal side and the business side. So for my business side, here's an example of my perfect business client. Okay, you give her a name. Okay, her name is Mary. Okay, she's a 40-year-old real estate broker, which means she owns the brokerage, the business. She has 5 full-time employees. She has 100 realtors working under her. She understands the basics of law of attraction. She wants more sales in her company and to improve her team cohesion. These are two things that I love to coach around. Okay, you can see it's all about me, right? Okay. She's fun to work with. I won't work with anybody who I don't enjoy working with. I made that decision a long time ago because it's not fair for the other person either if I'm not enjoying their company. She has the money to afford the coaching, and she sees the value in coaching. She's getting a strong ROI, return on investment, for the coaching. And she's willing to put in the effort on herself in between the sessions. So she's actually doing whatever action steps that we came up with in the session, so she's moving forward. Because coaching isn't about me moving her forward. Coaching is about providing an environment where the client moves themselves forward. It's about self-responsibility. So that's a pretty darn good client. And when I get one of those, life is great. We have a good time. Energy moves quickly. They get results. So that's my perfect client profile. I tend to attract more women business owners than men for some reason. That maybe it's just more because of this stuff is a little bit, there's more of an emotional component. A lot of men are kind of shut down with emotions. I don't know. I don't
By the
ask.
way, that doesn't even bother me because he attracted me too.
Yeah, she was number one, and still is. So I don't judge it. I just realize that's who's showing up in my life. Here's the profile of the people that I enjoy working with the most and who get the most value. So now you just codify it. You write it down. You say, okay. So your task here is, in fact, before I get into that, just a quick reason why we're doing this is because it gets us into a receptive state. When you think about a perfect client, do you feel bad or good? Good, right. Yeah, trick question, right. So it inherently gets us up here about clients in our business. It also, by focusing here, we're not focusing on the negative clients, right? Which is what's canceling the good clients from showing up. So wherever you put your focus, that's what you get, right? So it stops us from focusing. And when you start to do this work, I'm going to recommend that when you have one of those negative clients still show up, you just smile and let them be themselves and focus back in your mind right back up to here. You do the homework in your mind. Right? Because you got to break your own cycle, because the reason the negative clients are in your life is because you attracted them. Because you were down here in a scarcity mindset or a doubtful mindset or whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. There's no judgment about it. It's just that's how the mechanism works. So we want to do whatever we can to get our energy up here and hold it up here until those clients start to show up. And like I said, when we've done this workshop in the past, people tell us in a week or two, I all of a sudden started getting perfect clients that I've never had before.
And I practice this all the time, originally when we opened the company. That's what I did, set my intention, knew what we were looking for. And of course, then we perfected it along the way because we got some we weren't looking for. But I mean, you've got to prove it to yourself.
That's the evolution of it. Yeah. And another important little bonus of doing this work is if you identify your perfect client for your business, then your marketing and sales becomes easier. Because now you know who you're focusing on. The question, Jane?
What do you say set your intention? Like, I recently started a business with someone, and once you set your intention, I was thinking maybe I could just write a business plan.
With a what?
Write a business plan.
Yeah, business plan. Well, you can do a business plan. We're in the process of revamping ours right as we speak. But this is just one little corner of that.
It's just about the clients
It's whatever
right now.
lights up for you. Yeah, so this is the one corner of that. So, but the idea of the marketing sales for that specific product or service, now you've got an idea of what the client looks like that's going to get the most benefit and that you're going to enjoy having in your business. Now you can focus your marketing and sales in that niche. Right? You don't have to have the scattershot approach of advertising to everybody under the sun. Right? You can start targeting the area that your ideal client looks like. And then you can start figuring out, well, where would this person with these characteristics show up? In my case, a woman business owner of that size, there are a lot of small business associations around. There's a lot of networking groups. There are a lot of women-only networking groups. So all of a sudden now I've started to focus in on where I can find my ideal client. So not only do I know what they look like, I know where to find them. I can start knowing where to find them. And law of attraction will help me all along the way to open the doors towards those clients. So what we're going to do is that exercise right now. So what you're going to do if you want to participate, and again, if you don't have a business, you can put the word relationship in instead of perfect client because it works the same regardless. Put the characteristics of a person that you are wanting to attract either personally or professionally. There are usually more steps to this process, but we're going to boil it down here. So you got your piece of paper and your pencil or your pen. Okay? So you choose whatever the product or service is that you want to sell more of, where you want more perfect clients to show up. Again, if you have only one thing that you offer, then you're all set. So you want to narrow it down to that one product or service. So think back on those past clients. Some of you guys raised your hands about you've had some perfect clients show up. Okay? So get that person in your head right now. And if you haven't had that, get somebody close to that, somebody you have enjoyed working with. And start to cherry pick the characteristics of that person and write them on that piece of paper. What did you like about working with this person? Okay? They understood your service and your product. They were a good fit for it. They were fun to work with. You loved seeing them show up. You know, they had a big smile. You know, you were connected with them somehow. There's no problem paying. They wanted to pay you. Maybe somebody wanted to pay you more money. We've actually had that happen a few times. It's really nice. Somebody who's really receiving benefit. So start to capture the things that you want in that perfect client. Either you've had in the past or just in your imagination. What would be? And there's no limits here, guys. This is all imagination right now. So choose. Get to choose. You get to pick.
Yeah, another good characteristic that we've found is a client that enjoys your services so much they refer you to other friends.
Oh, yeah, that's another important one. Yeah, they actually tell other people about you. I like that one. We'll give you just a couple minutes to do that. And once you have the qualities, give them a name and a profession. How you guys doing? I see some people still writing. Use your imagination. You can have anything.
And you can keep adding to it later.
Yeah, yeah. So anybody, you gave this person a name, man or woman, what kind of business they were in, yeah? A question, comment? Oh, does it matter if it's the name of the person you're thinking of? It's totally up to you. Because nobody's...
If it feels good, give them a name.
Nobody's probably going to see this unless you're teaching a class like this and sharing it. So if that feels good to you, I can't remember when it was, we did this workshop at one point, and somebody actually had the ideal client. Like there was that one person, and I think it was John, and so she used John. It was just John's
Yeah.
whole description was her perfect client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it easily comes to your mind. If you use the name of the person who
Yeah.
really was ideal, now you've got the whole visual in your mind and the feeling you've had with it.
So does anybody want to share their perfect client or part of it? Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So my name is Alicia, and I have two parts to my business. I work as a garden designer, and I also have a line of outdoor product. So I have a website, and I work for a company as a landscape stylist, but I have my own little story going. And this lady has been following me because I have like a whole Facebook thing. And she started buying my products, and she said, when I buy a house, I'm going to come to you and ask, and she did. 2 years later, she came, and I make address numbers, and she asked them to be like extra big. She never even like balked at the price at all. She asked me, she lived in Austin. She said, I'm going to send you some of my walls. Will you help me pick the color of paint? And you can charge me. I mean, it was like, it was so good, And then she did that, and, when we did her whole thing in these big numbers, they were really good. And then her next door neighbor, and she called me and said, don't sell her the same, I'm giving her because she's been bugging me, but don't, But it was just, so her name is Susan, and now I'm forever seeking Susan, desperately seeking Susan.
Yeah, there you go. Just take the
Sounds like a
desperate
movie.
part out.
Forever
very nice.
seeking Susan. There you go.
I never even thought about, now that you said it, it's like sounded perfect. Yes to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. So who else? I saw another hand or two up that wants
Somebody
to
else
share their
wanna-
perfect client profile. You don't have to give all the details if it's too personal. It would be nice if anybody did the homework here.
Here, we got some.
Okay.
I had a situation, and they called me to come in to present this product. And usually there's a lot of resistance because I'm in the medical field. And so this doctor was talking to me and was very open to it because they have to change what they've learned. My way is better for the patient. And so it happened. Usually it takes months to get things ordered. It happened in 4 days.
Wow.
And not only did it happen in 4 days, that he was super open to it. Everything I said, you've got to listen to me. I'll teach you. I'll walk you through it. He did 2 cases on a patient who had to have this procedure before he could get a heart on the transplant team. And he just totally understood that I was going to walk him through everything for the best possible outcome. And the patient got off the table and didn't even show up for the follow-up, went to go get a heart. And I saw him last week, and I asked, and he said, no, something happened. He said, I sent him to another hospital, but he's going to get his heart. So he looked at me and said, you are absolutely passionate about this. But instantly, the first time I met him, it was an absolute click. And it happened so fast that he's my guy that I want because it was unheard of.
So do you have them written down
Great.
then?
Yes.
All
All right. Now, you know how to describe them perfect. That's wonderful.
There you go.
And we could feel your energy. Like now, as you remember that all the time and you go out into the world, those are the kinds of people that you will attract as you stay in that feeling and not doubt. Doubt brings you right out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent.
good job.
Who else wants to share? Maybe one more.
Yeah. Oh, somebody else have another one?
Anybody else want to share? No? Okay. So you feel the power in that when you did that exercise? Like you were saying, Alicia? All right, you start to feel that resonance. All right, so...
I wanted to share.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do all the networking, and so I went to this meeting that I had never gone to, Motor City Connection, and they were starting a location out here in Novi, so I went, didn't know anybody, didn't know the people that ran it, but I thought to myself, oh, it would really be cool if I met some people that are already familiar with law of attraction. Now, you can go to a lot of networking meetings, and that subject doesn't come up very often, but I set my intention. It felt really good. I went and I sat down at one of the many tables, and as we started talking, everyone at my table was into law of attraction. What are the chances? And then I just set up a coffee with this other, one of the ladies, and we just met 2 days ago, and she was so excited to find out some of the things we offered was just what she's looking for. And she just called me and signed up for a program I teach, which is called Trusting Your Inner Guidance. So what was really fun is when I look back on how powerful your intention is and I always carry in my mind the kind of client I'm looking for my particular program, just like your feeling there that you got, I just carry that with me, and it works so wonderfully.
Suzanne's a master manifester when it comes to that.
You said, what are the chances? The chances are 100%.
100%.
And that's what people, and what was funny is after that meeting, one of the guys that ran it came up, would you do a little testimonial, and can I put it up on YouTube? And I said, oh, fine. So I say what I said, and of course I set my intention, and I came to the meeting, and I sat at the one table everyone knew about law of attraction. And it was so much fun, and I didn't say what are the chances, because I know how it works, but it was fun.
Yeah.
You did say, what are the chances?
I did hear.
Yeah.
I did hear. But not in that YouTube thing, because I know there is no chance. It's definitely all to your power of your energy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. There's no coincidences, nothing random, no chance, no accidents, no injustice, no victims. It's all attraction. Yeah?
So you said we could make it relationship as opposed to client?
You can use
Yeah.
it. The idea is what you're doing by setting your intention, by setting a focus on something that you want, you're doing basically two things in one. The first is you're setting a focus towards something that feels good to you. And so that, by definition, if you feel good, it has to open up the door. And the other half of it is it's getting you off the opinion you have of the negative side of the relationship, of bad experiences you've had. The important thing here is that it feels good. So if there's something in here that's unbelievable to you, like you wrote it down like, well, this person has to be a multimillionaire. Well, if you don't believe that, or if you have some resistance around that, and it's going to feel down here. So feel out every one of the entries on that list, right? Whether it's a relationship or a perfect client, and cross off the ones that you can't believe right in this moment. Maybe you will at some point, because you're going to start attracting people who match this profile. It's going to happen quickly, too. If you guys do this work, you get into the feeling place of that list, you're going to call us up. It happens.
And please do.
Yeah, please do.
We
love
hearing
it.
success stories.
So the homework then is to read the perfect client profile or the perfect relationship profile to yourself first thing in the day when your energy is in a good place and you're not worn out from the day. Right? And feel into it. Take a good couple of minutes. And you can blast through the list, but feel every one of those things that you put down there, because you put them down there because they'll feel good, right? There shouldn't be anything on this list that doesn't feel good to you personally, right? So read them and feel into them. What's going to feel like to have somebody who's fun to work with? Oh, my God, what a breath of fresh air. What's it going to feel like to not have to worry about collecting money? Like they want to pay me. Wow, the money's going to just start rolling in. So feel into it, and then let it go. As we were talking about earlier, just say, okay, I've done that. Now I feel good. I'm going to go off into my day. That's a great technique anyway when you start your day. So we say meditate first thing in the morning, do a 15-minute meditation, because everything's about this momentum concept. When you go to sleep, your mind shuts off. You get back up to the top. You wake up. Guess what? You start thinking. Where do you start thinking? Usually what you're thinking about the night before. And often the night before, we're thinking about the day or what we got to do tomorrow. And usually it's not in a very good place. So you can get a lot of leverage in your day by the night before meditating for 5 minutes in bed or relaxing your mind, listening to music, get yourself up here. And when you wake up first thing, meditate for 15 minutes. Like first thing. You get 17 seconds, by the way, before one thought, if you get stuck on that thought, attracts another thought at that same frequency. And 17 more seconds, another thought stream will come in. Could be on a different subject, but it'll be at the same frequency you're at. And then 17 more seconds, and this is the momentum we were talking about. And eventually the thoughts coalesce enough to where law of attraction has enough to start moving things around physically that match the frequency you're on. Does not take long, folks. Get your leverage going first thing when you wake up in the morning. Get that meditation going, doing something soothing, do some writing if you like, journaling, like we were talking about, is a really great thing to do. Anything. What's that? And then do your client profile, yeah. Yeah.
And if anyone does do networking, like I do, and you go to these meetings and you have 1 minute to talk about what you're looking for, a little bit about your business and what you're looking for, what I do is when I'm driving to that meeting, what I do is the night before, I get the 60-second commercial in my head, including a little story, exactly of a success story of how we've helped someone. And so when I'm driving to the meeting, I practice that, and I get in such a space of, wow, did we ever help that scenario? I'm vibrating that, go to the meeting and attract someone who just wants to chat, but ends up, down the line, it's always one step at a time, becoming a client. So practice what feels good when you're driving to a meeting about what you offer, and now you're vibrating in that, and tell a little story, and that helps specify the kind of client you're looking for, a success story you've had. That's my little helpful hints on law of attraction.
Suzanne found the law of attraction literally decades ago in her multi-level marketing business. She had 150 people working for her, client downline and managers. And she figured out...
I figured out how to do it intuitively. I wasn't trained in it. Law of attraction wasn't even a phrase back then, but I just knew I loved feeling good. And so as I paid attention to why was I successful and the people in my structure, some were, some weren't, I began to realize it was the way I was thinking that were bringing me the results. It just all seemed to make sense, and I started teaching it. But that's how I began to learn. That was started in 1981, and that business went on for 25 years. The law of attraction, in hindsight, was so powerful, I didn't even know. That's why when we got introduced to it, I said, oh, this makes sense. I've been using this for years. I just didn't know the negative thoughts were just as powerful and attractive. So that's why in my life, I was great in business, and I sucked in relationships. So every area in your life, you think differently. And what I needed to clean up, the vibration and the thoughts that I needed to clean up to have this great life that I have now, is the way I thought about myself in relationships. So yes, you can attract your ideal relationship. I attracted one.
Here we are.
And anybody can do it, and that's one of my favorite things to do, is help people. That's just another whole topic, how to attract the ideal partner without trying, but with feeling good.
I think we're probably going to put on a workshop on relationships and law of attraction.
Hopefully a
later in the
webinar,
fall.
so people don't have to drive across town.
One of the things you can do to amplify your belief in this, particularly if you're new to law of attraction, because it's still kind of weird stuff if you think about it. What we're talking about here, this is not something you're going to go down to the corner coffee shop and start talking about to the barista behind the counter. But if you study successful people, I just had a curiosity many years ago, back when I was a youngster, to just why are some people successful and why are other ones not? And I learned a lot of the mechanics that they do, how they treat people, how they think of life. But it wasn't until I understood the law of attraction when I understood what they had all in common. And what they all have in common is they do what feels good to them, period. And when they get a gut feel, when they get guidance in their gut, they follow it. And it doesn't matter what the lawyers say, it doesn't matter what people on the news say, it doesn't matter what their own advisors say. If their gut is strongly telling them to do something, they do it. And guess what? They make millions or billions of dollars, and they live the life that they want. Right? It's because they figured out, as Suzanne has figured out, that, if I follow what feels good and I pay attention to what shows up, they are connected. I want more of that, so I'll just do the things that feel good, and things keep coming, and I'll do things that feel good. Things keep coming. And they do the momentum loop. They follow that guidance. Read the stories. Read about Steve Jobs or Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or Richard Branson. Any of these people, that's the common thread that they have. They follow what feels good, and they don't listen to other people's opinions if they don't feel good.
You can't worry about what other people are thinking or saying or telling you. You have to go with your own feeling, your own gut instinct, what feels good to you, and that's how you manifest an amazing life. There's lots of negative people, but you don't have to...
You won't run into them if you're
you.
not vibrating negative energy.
Yeah,
that's the main thing, is that you're walking around with a force field around you all the time.
Yeah, it's energy.
You will never run into somebody who takes advantage of you if you're not in a victim state of mind. It's just not possible. The vibration don't match. This applies to everything everywhere. And you got to prove it to yourself. I used to have the hugest victim mentality, like I said. I had lots of bad stuff happen to me all through my whole life. And so I do everything I could to protect myself and to pull back and become an introvert and not talk to people. And blah, 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 you know. I realized I just kept attracting it. The more I focused on it, the more it would show up. Eventually, like I said, I had to turn into a brain tumor before I realized I was the one creating it. So now I let that stuff go. I don't worry. We don't lock the doors. You know, all of a sudden, change of energy and all of life changes. You have this protective shield around you because vibrationally, negative stuff cannot get to you unless you're in a negative place for an extended period of time.
And
You
that's
have that
why
power.
another time we'll talk about meditation, but meditation is so powerful because it helps you learn to quiet your mind, stop those thoughts or maybe victim mentality or anything else. We met in a meditation class because we were both searching for a way to feel better in our lives. That was just one of the many things that brought us together.
Yeah, take care of yourself, and you'll attract somebody who's on that same frequency. Quick question?
I just have a comment, real quick.
Comment? Okay.
Kind of explains this. If anyone says to me that they feel fearful going someplace, I will not go anywhere with them. And I have a girlfriend, like I want to go to Detroit, and she said, I hate Detroit because we're going to get mugged. I said, I will not go with you. Find somebody else to go with because you just lit up someone who's going to attack us. So we're not going. We're not going. I'm not going with
Good
you.
for you.
And I go by myself. Nothing ever happens to me because I expect great and wonderful people to smile at me the whole time I'm there.
Yeah. Yay.
She rolled her eyes at
That's
you.
a perfect segue into our wrap-up here.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, you are powerful beyond measure, as they
Yes,
say.
totally.
So time to start exercising it and enjoying life. And not only when you take care of yourself, does your life start to improve dramatically, but you start radiating this energy. Everything is energy. Everything's radiation. Okay? The higher you're up on the scale, the more powerful the energy is. This is an exponential scale of power flow, of energy flow through you. Go from here to here, it doubles. Here to here, it doubles. Here to here, it doubles. And you can go from the bottom to the top on a subject. You're 4 million times more powerful in terms of the energy that you're radiating than you are down here. Okay? And somebody who's up here consistently, that's where all the leaders are. People like the Gandhis in the world. He held on to the vision no matter what happened to him until he started attracting nothing but success. And guess what? He turned 1 billion people around against an army without weapons. And he won. Okay? That's how powerful alignment is. That's how powerful you can be. One more comment? Quick one. We've got to wrap up.
Okay, so I met someone the other night, and people are always complaining, oh, Facebook is nothing but a bunch of drama. I don't do Facebook. I'm going to take a break from Facebook, blah, blah, blah. All I see is political this and negative this and all that. And I'm saying, wow, I don't know. But all the people that are on my Facebook that show up on my feed, it's all positive. It's all positive quotes. They're telling good stories. They're posting good story videos. And you know why? Because everything I post on Facebook is positive. I don't let the negative go out there. So I'm attracting the positive back. Yeah. And Saturday night, I did the same thing.
That's so true. You got it.
That's the secret. All right, well, let's wrap up here, guys. What have we learned today? The obvious. When we focus on what we want and stay there long enough, we get what we want. Well, when we focus on what we don't want, guess what? We get that too. So it's all about focus. Your choice of focus, and what you focus on, test it by how you feel. And if it doesn't feel good, get your mind off of it before you start building momentum. And if you find yourself down in the dumps anyway, you couldn't catch it, that's okay. Go to sleep. Next morning, you get a do-over. You'll start all over again. All the momentum stops when you're sleeping. Every day, you get a do-over. So nothing's going wrong. You just do it. You just practice it and practice it. Take away from one person. What's one person who's going to do something differently than they, as a result of being here, than they were doing before they showed up?
Who wants to share one thing? Okay.
Don.
Instead of just thinking about what I want my ideal client to be, I'm actually going to write it down and focus on it every morning so I bring that to myself.
Yay! There we go. The perfect synopsis.
Yes, right to the point.
Perfect.
Yes.
So just remember that this is weird stuff, guys, okay? Computer must have crashed up there.
Uh-oh. I thought somebody was going to play the piano or something.
Can't take the positive energy here. So it takes a little faith in this weird stuff. This energy work stuff, this law of attraction, particularly if you haven't heard of it before. Like I said, even though I think we explained it pretty well, it's bizarre stuff. So you got to start with faith first. Just extend the belief long enough to where you practice it and start to prove it to yourself. And then practice. 21 days. Just get into the state of mind that we're talking about here with this perfect client and practice it. 21 days takes to change a habit. Then you'll prove to yourself whether or not this actually works. And have a little patience with yourself. You can't make a mistake. You can't get this stuff wrong. So if you have a bad day, you're not getting it right, quote unquote, it's okay. Go to bed, wash the day off, and wake up the next morning and start over.
Don't be hard on yourself because that's just pointless. It just brings your energy down. Just be okay. It's okay.
So open networking right after the meeting and some cupcakes.
Cupcakes
You're
and
gonna
other
save me
snacks
one,
out
right?
there.
I sometimes can't get past here to get it back out there, so please save me one. Yeah.
Susan, save us 2 cupcakes out there.
All right. She's on a mission now. Next meetup is going to be October 13th, and I decided to change the title about an hour ago. Yeah.
Must be law of attraction.
Yeah, I'm feeling like we want to do another session on relationships, how to create an empowering relationship, personal or professional, it's up to you. But we'll talk about how, we talked about it somewhat today, relationships. We'll get more into relationships and how to unwind the connections we have that are pulling us down, and how to change yourself so that the other person changes.
And this works
It blows
in
your mind.
relatives, neighbors,
Everybody.
It's just powerful.
The rest of the meetups throughout the end of the year up on the meetup website. Go to meetup.com, go to Billionaires Club, and you'll see them. If you want to sign up, just go ahead and RSVP for those. We are going to have a holiday party at our house on December 10th for the Billionaires Club, whoever wants to make it. It'll be a potluck, so you get to bring some food or a dish. So be sure, December 10th, it's a Saturday.
For the Halloween party?
Holiday. Sorry. No Halloween party.
Holiday, no Halloween. We just had a end of summer picnic.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. We have rented places before, but usually we don't get a high turnout, and our house is just big enough to handle maybe 30, 40 people. So, or maybe more actually.
As they
with the
go and come,
basement.
it's would be like an open house type of thing.
Yeah. So if you guys want to come to that, we'd love to have you, but be sure to RSVP if you do. Okay. December 10th. Yeah, it's on the website. Okay. So just go to meetup.com, go to the Billionaires Club, and everything you ever wanted to know about Meetup, our group is there. Also, FYI, there is a...
It's a website. You can go right to it.
There's a shortcut, thebclub.me.
if you want.
Gets you there quicker. So if you go to the pages, if you go to the Billionaires Club, and if you click on there's a pages menu at the very top right in the middle, that opens up to the whole description of the Billionaires Club, a bunch of resources on meditation, for instance, other places where we get our information.
Yep.
It's all there. So you guys, if you want more information about what we're doing here, you can write us anytime, email us, call us. That you get it from the website as well. So that's about all I have today. Thanks for putting up with us.
Thank you,
Thanks for coming out
for
today.
coming,
and have a
attending.
wonderful month, guys.